You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong. Author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. I have Romina with me, and Romina and I are going to talk about not only the power of mindset, but the power of listening, which I think is the greatest tool that every teacher on the planet, aka mom and dad right now, could use, because the kids don't want to listen to you guys as their teachers. They have enough time. They have enough of a hard time listening to teachers but mom and dad being teachers, I don't think so. So, Melina and I are going to talk about the power of mindset and listening, and then we're just going to have a natural conversation and see how it goes. So, welcome, Melina, and I'm going to let you take it away and explain more about what you do and the podcast you have and everything else.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope everybody's having a great and a safe day so far. I know we are isolated. Some cities are fully isolated. Some families are, mix and match right now because everybody is home. So me and Wynn agreed to talk about the power of mindset, how we can change our mindset, and the listening skills, how you can improve your listening skills in these days that everybody's home, and sometimes we drive each other bananas, but it's okay. We all do it from love. So
Yes.
There's a big reason behind it.
Yes,
we just need to analyze it better.
Yes, we do. So tell us a little bit about your story and how you started your podcast and how you started on this podcasting journey.
Yeah, so I'll actually start you at age 17 because I mention this story often, but I still, when I analyze myself, I still look at it and I say, okay, I was brave since then. I just didn't know it how. I moved to America at 17 years old by myself, and my family trusted me enough to let me move across the ocean because I'm Albanian originally. And that 1 year, that the first year or so, it wasn't that easy for me. But I never realized that I have this stubbornness on me that when I want to do something, I'll just do it. Sometimes you just feel cool. But analyzing it, looking at it back right now, when things happen to my life, I always look at it, be like, Romina, you were 17. Absolutely nobody in America. Like, you made it through that. Like, you will be just fine. Like, stop getting on your own head.
You said Bulgarian originally? Because
Albanian, yeah.
Albanian, you didn't know the language. You didn't know anything. So the fact that you were in the U.S. as a 17-year-old brave soul, Romina, because you didn't know anything.
Yeah, so my mom made me learn English. I wasn't a fan of English just because it has like 600 tense. Like even till this day, I still confuse it.
Yes.
But my mom made me. But when I moved to America, I lived in Chicago first, and everybody would speak so fast, and you'd use slangs and use every day. And I learned British English, so I was so lost and confused at first. And then I found, luckily, I was connected with another Albanian girl, which was raised here, and she helped me a lot with my English. So that would make fun of me. I remember till this day, I didn't know what pancakes were. So one time they were all excited, going to have pancakes one morning. I was like, what is a pancake? So they're all laughing at me, but like, it's things that you don't realize it. It's so American.
Yeah, it's things like that no, I have a friend who is she's from Venezuela, and
Mhm.
she's now finally asylum from Venezuela, but she has the hardest time with understanding American cultures and food.
Yeah.
And I walked through it just a little bit, and then it was interesting because we're so used to these American cultures that when the people immigrate here from different countries, they don't know
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
Yeah, like for example, Albania is very culture oriented. So another reason why like the Mediterranean countries unfortunately are being infected so much with the virus is because we don't know personal space. We don't like everybody's close
We
to
don't
one
know
another.
personal space.
No,
Yeah,
when I moved to
yeah,
America, everybody was like they would be far and they'll say, "Excuse me." I'm like, "Why is she saying excuse me?"
yeah,
Like we don't have a thing as personal space. Like you will fit 30 people in a 4x4 room and everybody will have fun and
yeah,
we'll just hang out and sit on the floor.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, that's another reason why you don't you no a lot of the cultures don't know personal space. I
No,
mean,
even till this day. There's no such a culture back home. You knock on the door and wait for somebody to say, come in. You open the door, like things like that. It's
for
very,
this
very different.
people do no, and no, people have a hard time in America with personal space. I do, and I get away with it because I'm disabled. But people have a hard time watching me maneuver because I I tend to run into people, and I do it on purpose. I have been known to run into people on purpose just to get them to move enough so that I can get by.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can understand why
I
Albanians
mean, I'm
are
and I
having a
moved
hard time
here
with the
And I moved
coronavirus.
here at a young age, but if you talk to my parents, they still think it's like, oh, that's silly. That will just, like back home, like that will just be shoulder to shoulder. So I'm like, give people personal space. You're like,
Yeah,
very, or
yeah,
on like when you wait at the cashier, they're right there. I'm like, back up a little bit, like things like that. So
exactly. No,
it might sound
exactly.
it might sound very silly, but like I had to get used to all those things and I had to learn about a whole different culture.
Yeah,
And I
you
was
did.
still learning what was right and what was wrong. And 17
Yeah,
years, I
you did.
mean, you grew up in a whole different culture and you come here and you have to reprogram your brain pretty much.
We pulled a little bit your brain. That is speaking my language. And so, what got you into the power of podcasting and into the power of good listening?
Yeah, so I actually, after I came to America, I wanted to back it up a little bit because I dropped out of school. My parents thought I'd be a great pharmacist, but came to find out that I hated chemistry. Like, I love chemistry, but to a point, not to the point that I had to study it. So I ended up dropping out, and then I met with the world of sales and negotiations, which I came to find out like the importance of listening, the importance of body language, the importance of actually bonding. And I always try to stay ethical as much as I can when it comes to sales. That's why I've had sales positions and I've left because I don't want to be the pressuring person. I want to be the person to be the best betweener for you to help you with the product. So after a lot of back and forth, I just met this, like I was just in this phase that I was like, I know what to do, but I'm struggling with like you know the formula, but you're struggling to put it to play. So it's like, what if I do this and it doesn't come out good? What if I do this and it doesn't come out good? Am I the only one that struggles with this? So I always listen to podcasts, and one day me and my brother were having lunch and I was just on my phone and he's like, put your phone down, like you're being disrespectful. So I was like, no, hear me out. I said, I'm gonna start a podcast. I'm just gonna reach out to my LinkedIn connections and just ask them, how do they do it? Like, how do they go about the career that they're at right now? What obstacles did they have to overcome? And that's how it all started because I was stuck myself and I was like, I am sure I'm not the only person in the world out there. I'm sure somebody else would want to know this answers to this. So I was the voice to ask my own questions, and depending on the profession that all my guest speakers practice. I dived in and read their books, listened to their interviews, did online research to try to actually dive into the core issues and the core questions. So that's why I started a podcast, because I had a million questions, and if I didn't get the answers, nobody would get those for me.
Yeah, no. And you and I are on the same path. I started this podcast because I wanted to raise awareness about my disability, but also I had a million questions for people. And so the power of listening, the power of paying attention, the power of actually putting your phone down, thank you very much, and the power of not not doing 2 million other things when you are supposedly listening. That helps. That helps.
It does. And I mean, unfortunately, yes, technology is great, it's developing so much, but we're being like, a lot of people are being so reliable on the phones, on everything. They're forgetting the actual human connection, which it's kind of funny that the whole situation now it's happening, because now, like before, we couldn't concentrate to spend time with our families because we're on our phones or doing something, but now you're obligated to. So I'm kind of enjoying that part of it, that families are kind of binding together, and then because of what's going on now, we're reaching out to one another, so we're going back to like that really human basic connection.
Yeah.
And listening. You have to listen.
You have
People
to
listen.
listen. You can't yeah. And you have to listen, people. You can't just go about your merry way. And I want you guys, when you hear this episode, I want you guys to actually listen to what Romina and I are saying, because it's all about the power of the human connection. And if you actually listened to a person and looked them straight in the eye, you would learn a lot about them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and it's very important. And some people, what's sad is that some people listen to reply, but don't listen to understand to somebody's issues. So that's why you have a lot of bridges being burned easily. That's why the dating world itself, it's a mess right now. I don't even know how I end up being where it is, for example,
Yeah.
or even parent children, like relationship. It's um you have to listen, you have to look at the body language, because you separate to verbal and nonverbal communication. But let's focus on the verbal, because nonverbal, you have to look at cues and everything, which gets a
Yeah.
little bit harder. But for the beginner stage, let's focus on the verbal one.
And so, what would be your best advice to those who are packed in to the houses like sardines by now? And what would be your best advice to have people listen? I mean, we can't see friends by now. We can't go to live our daily lives right now. And so we gotta deal with what's around us. But what would be your best advice, Elena, on how to deal with the situations at hand?
Yeah. So I want to share a little story with you, and then I'll analyze it to why it's important to listen and why it's important to communicate better. Have you heard the story about one orange mom and daughter?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Educate me. Educate me.
So this is one of my favorite stories, because it really gets to the fundamental of communication and listening, and then you can build skills from it. So there was only one orange left in the house, right? And the daughter wanted the orange because she wanted to make orange juice. But the mom also wanted the orange because she wanted to make a pie, like a cake, an orange cake, and she wanted like the peel. So they went back and forth. No, I need it. No, I need it. They didn't tell each other why they wanted it. They just argued because they wanted it.
Yeah.
So they just cut the orange in half. They said, okay, cool. You get half, I get half now. Dismiss. Like everybody goes about their
Yeah.
day. So the daughter takes half of her orange, squeeze it into an orange juice, add some sugar, and just drinks it like that. and she throws away the peel. The mom takes the peel out of her half, cuts it into small, tiny pieces. Mom cuts the peel into small, tiny pieces because she wanted for the family cake, and she threw the fruit away. So from a communication perspective, this part is completely failed to talk to one another. If they actually communicated with one another, if they actually deeper question or ask a simple question as, why do you want the orange? Why do you want the orange? What are you going to do with the orange? They could have very easily had full fruit and a fruit peel. So things like that, sometimes we just want it our way. We just want it, no, you listen to me. I'm not even going to listen to you. So deeper question to why somebody is going through something, why somebody wants something. Deeper question and ask open-ended questions when you're trying to have a conversation. Instead of, for example, asking questions of, are you having a good day? Which can be replied with a yes or a no. You can ask the question, what did you do today?
Yeah.
What was the highlight of your day?
Exactly.
What was something interesting you did today? So it is about listening, but it also is about building skills to how to ask the proper questions towards making the other person listen. Because you definitely don't want to. So if me and you, Win, are having a conversation, right? And you I'm asking you a question and everyone is going to be a yes or a no, yes or a no, or a very short answer. It kind of looks like I'm investigating you, right? You're going to be like, okay, you asked me 100 questions.
Exactly.
But if I ask
we can't do the yes or no questions. They say as a podcast interview, they say don't ask your interviewee closed-ended questions, yes or no. Ask them open-ended questions.
Correct, because if I can ask you one open-ended question and you can give me the full story of what happened, instead of me asking you 10 questions and then that looks into an interrogating mode.
Yeah, no, and we don't want that. And it's so funny that you say we need to quit asking closed-ended questions, yes or no, because I've had interviewees in the past that go, no, I don't have any questions for you, because at the end of my show, I asked my interviewees, do you have any questions for me? And the ones that go, no, I don't have any questions for you. One, I know they haven't listened to the podcast. The other one, and you guys were waiting for Marina to come back. The internet has been really wonky, but as I was saying, that my interviewees haven't listened to the podcast and then haven't really understood that I am a deep dive interviewer. I am a deep dive interviewer to the point where I will go deep. I will just let the conversation go. So what Marina was trying to say, and she's back now, is that you guys got to stop asking me what is cerebral palsy, what is. You guys got to stop asking the close-ended questions because I'm done with the close-ended questions as of today. I mean, well, back then, like, some things we can't do the yes, no, maybe so questions. We need to have conversations to gain insight on to what's going on to how everyone's feeling about what's going on, and on to how our life is going to change. Thank you very much. This epidemic, but we need to do a deep dive analysis with people.
So let me, one of my favorite books out there I wanted to share, it's How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Oh, yeah.
By Dale Carnegie, right? Do you remember the example that he put in the book with Abraham Lincoln, the president, whenever he was the president?
I have heard of this example over the years. I admit I haven't read the whole book in its entirety, so I have heard this book over the years, and I've heard the examples being pulled out.
So yeah, like it's one of the greatest books out there. So I would suggest anybody to read it, or even if they want to read a summary of it. But it just shows one example for like I don't want to get like into like the details of what the president was trying to make, but he had this great decision to make, and he didn't have none of his staff members listen to him. He didn't feel like somebody was understanding him. So he got his friend from Illinois to go to the White House and to actually talk about it, right? And all his friend did was ask him open-ended questions. Well, why do you think this is the best decision? Do you think there's another route for this? Do you think maybe you should, do you think of another solution? It was always questions of, do you think? Why do you think that? This way, it kind of poked him to talk more, right? So the friend left after they had a long conversation. Till this day, he says, my friend was the best presidential advisor that there could be out there. His friend never gave him an advice of what to do, never told him what to do. He just asked open-ended questions and had him dive in more into his decision, dive in more into more logical, and actually get to the root of why he was thinking the way he was thinking. So sometimes you need to do that for people to get to the root of it, and that will remember you as the best partner ever too.
And
you listen.
One of my favorite quotes is, people may forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And
absolutely,
that's by Dr. Maya Angelou. And I posted that on my Facebook last night. And so people have got to understand the power of the human connection, and people have got to quit asking me when they interview me the dumb question of what is cerebral palsy. Just take a listen to the work I'm doing, and then you'll move on. I'm so sick of answering what is cerebral palsy. I have answered that over 1 million times now, and I only want to answer it with, quite frankly, with my aides that I'm training, because once they my aides don't ask me on a daily basis what is cerebral palsy. They have the concept of cerebral palsy, and don't you guys be Googling it either. Google Smoogle to cerebral palsy, and I just feel like, what is cerebral palsy? Move on. Move on. Cerebral palsy is my gift and talent, by the way. But I may have cerebral palsy, but I use it as my gift and talent. So move on and start asking me the deep, open-ended questions. And don't judge a book by its cover. Don't ask the aide standing behind me what is my disability, because I will give you the dirty look.
Yeah, unfortunately, people sometimes we tend to be so superficial and ask the very layered question.
Yeah.
And that's why you see people is like, I don't want to hang out with you. It's like there's always a superficial one. Like the more you peel off, like it's kind of like the layers of the onion, right? The more you peel off, the more you get to the bottom. So it's like you have to learn how to peel off those layers, and you like. So do you have a person that when you have an issue, you can call at any time, right? We all have that one person.
Yeah, I do.
But awesome. But let me ask you this. Why is it that person? Is because that person gives you the greatest advice, or are they just a great listener and they hear you out?
They well, I have two of them, and they both listen, and they both hear me out, and they let me solve problems on my own. They
So you're not doing what they tell you to do, but they're making. Sometimes when you say things out loud, it clicks differently.
Yeah.
So
I actually have 3 of them, and so when I'm really stuck, I can call these 3 people and say, "Look, help me out here." And so one of them happens to be my BFF, who is a really good listener when it comes down to it, because she understands the concept of cerebral palsy, and she understands the challenges of cerebral palsy. And so she and I will talk out problems, but she will not tell me what to do necessarily. Just let me talk it out, and then I am perfectly fine at solving problems on my own.
And that's what great listeners, and that's why we keep close friends close to us.
Yes,
they hear us out.
That's why we keep the great listeners close to us, and so yeah, that's why. And because we, the human species, can figure it out on our own, we just need a place to balance it out.
We just need a hand to hold us, so like to walk us through it and just listen to us and just be there. Yes, I say this. Sometimes I talk to myself because I need a professional opinion. I joke with it.
Exactly.
But it's very different when you have a support system and you have somebody there just to listen to you, even, just over a course of 30 minutes, or just be like, this is what happened. Okay, I got it figured out now. I'm going to go and fix it. Like those moments, those are very important. So be that person, because you will leave very memorable and very fundamental, like your name is going to have a whole different place in their heart for you.
Yes. Be that person, you guys. Be that person now more than ever. And if you need to pick up the phone and call me, and call me, and I'll be there, and I won't necessarily tell you what to do. I will listen, and then you can go solve the problem on your own. But now I think we need good listeners to help us through this world epidemic in this world changing times.
So if I can give 2 advices also for people that are actually are together. So whenever you're talking to somebody, don't talk too fast. Even though your brain might be going 200 miles per hour, just talk slow, because if you pay attention, if you talk slow and articulate things right, things are going to be more memorable. And also wait about 3 seconds after the person that you're talking to finishes. Wait about 3 seconds to say something, because that will allow them to breathe, get in the oxygen, and then you'll think clear. Because also tip number 2, what we try to do, and everybody's guilty of this, we try to upper up one level to somebody else's story. So have you ever been in a situation, for example, I don't know, like I went to a car dealership, bought a car, this is what happened. And then your friend will be like, oh, you won't believe what happened to my uncle because he bought a car and this is the story. And they're trying to compete.
I have been in that situation. It's not good. It's not good. And so we need good listeners. We also need, and for me, I'm a 100% audio, and we also need those of us who have damaged brains like me. And so we need people to not slow down necessarily to a turtle's pace, but slow down so that I can process what's going on. You guys know about my slight brain injury that happened over the weekend, but I have a major brain injury that you guys don't know about. I originally got a TBI, traumatic brain injury in '87. So for me to process the world around me, it will it takes me a good 5 seconds. So if you can slow down and let people process the question, then we're good as gold.
But it's not like just slow down. I get it. Time is limited. You don't get time back.
Yes.
But articulating things, like if I articulate so for example, if you're talking to somebody that has an accent, or if you're talking to somebody that speaks a foreign language, when they slow down, don't they sound just like they sound more attractive? You're just like, I have no idea what you're saying, but I can feel like I can repeat what you're saying, and now I feel cool.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I literally had to tell my aide at one point, slow down so I could understand your broken English enough so we can get by. I mean, she was talking, and this was a aide many, many years ago. She was talking so fast, and it's like, hey, I can't understand you enough so I can repeat the question. But
Yeah.
but we need to slow down as a culture, and I think this what we're going through is getting to the point where we're slowing down.
We have to.
We have to. And Marina, as we wrap this interview up, do you have any questions for me?
Yes. So I also see a great bookshelf behind you there.
Oh yes.
Awesome.
Oh yes.
And I know you've written books.
And I have written books. These books, I have some of them are mine. Some of them I haven't even touched. And to you guys who don't know what Marina is talking about, I'll take a picture of it and stick it on my Instagram so you can see it. But have but this bookshelf, I was going to pick up a book the other day off this bookshelf and start reading it, but I decided not to because I can't physically hold a book. See, that's the other problem with my disability. I can't physically hold a book, so that's why I'm a 100% audio learner, and I know that, and that's why I love the podcast, and that's why I love medium of podcasting. But I have written books myself, and I will continue to write books and continue to do the medium of podcasting. Primarily stick with the medium of podcasting. My second choice is YouTube. My third choice is books.
So I wanted to ask you, dear, if I don't know, like I'm a visual person. So when you read or hear a book, you like paint your own picture in your head. Are you the same, or are you the person that like the movies better?
I hate movies based on books.
Thank you.
I hate movies based on books. I went to see before the movie theaters were shut down. I went to see Little Women, and I wish I read the book before I saw the movie because even though it was a great movie, I'm like, I hate books. I hate movies based on books because I'm like, I want to paint my own picture. And Marina, you hit the nail right on the head. You're pulling stuff out of me like no tomorrow, because people know that I'm a 100% audio learner, but they also know that I'm very creative. And so when I do pick up a book, I typically paint the picture in my own head.
Okay, so does this happen to you? This happens to me. My friend finds it silly. Whenever I listen to an audiobook that has like a male, like a deep voice, do you feel like you're seeing a movie black and white and you're making your own pictures?
No,
and it's like,
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. the voice is a voice is a voice, and I have a couple of my own books on audio tape, and Audible is actually giving a discount right now because of what's going on, and so I I use visuals as as I'm listening to the audiobook. It helps me read it and it helps me see it, but I don't get into the mode of black and white.
So, because my brain, I don't know why, my brain just turns into like a visual, but it's a black and white visual. And like I paint you, because you paint your own picture and like you build your own thing by the book. But I always wonder, because a lot of people like to see the movies instead of reading the books. And I'm a book reader. Like I would love to read the book too compared to seeing the movies, because like whatever you picture the whole thing is just so much better than the movies. I feel like the movies kill the book a lot of times.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I agree, even though I don't read books. Ugh. Give me a book. Give it me an audiobook, make me a happy camper. Give me a podcast, make me a happy camper. But I do not read books per se. I have a friend who said what was it? I'll read one page out of 10 books to do my amount of reading. And I say, okay, good on you for trying, but that's a little too much for me. And I know that people have time nowadays, but with the medium of content now streaming, it's going to be easier for you guys to pick up the audiobook because you could at least multitask while you're doing it. Unless you want to listen to the podcast or listen to the audiobook, then don't multitask. But anyway, but no, I am 100% audio, and people know it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice, that's awesome. And then I wanted to ask you something else too, because we actually ran into each other at Podfest. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
yes,
geez.
we
I
did.
ran into so many. I ran into so many people on that trip, and that trip was the most interesting trip ever because we were lucky that we did that week because when I got home, everything got shut down.
Yes, we were very lucky, honestly. But I wanted to ask you, because you're reading books, you're doing a podcast, you're always active, trying to do new things. And I sent you the question earlier too, but I'm intrigued. If you were to be on a stage and your loved ones, like everybody that you love and you care about is in the audience and you're getting an award, what would the award be for you? What would be like the most accomplishing award?
The most accomplishing one, which I'm actually working on pursuing a journalism degree in mass communications / journalism, and that will be the most accomplishing thing when I walk across a stage and actually receive that because yes, that will be the most accomplishment ever because I've had a lot of stumbling blocks with this particular degree and I just want to finish it and get it over with now.
So do you have a deadline on it?
The deadline we're looking at now is January 24th, 2024, but that deadline may change due to how many transfer credits transfer in and what I'm doing as far as my coursework at school. So I'll let you guys know when the deadline is official and yeah.
Awesome. I would love that, and I want to know when that becomes complete because
Yeah.
it is
Yep,
Moments
you guys
like
will
that.
know. You
Yes.
guys will know. You guys have been following me on this journey, and you guys will know.
Absolutely. I would love to see pictures of that. That would be awesome.
Yep.
Pictures and video. Because you can post the video.
You got it. And for those of you who are out in the San Diego area listening to this, right now the school I'm going to is Ashford University, and they're phenomenal. And so, yeah, I will complete my journalism degree and in mass communications too, and I am super excited.
That's awesome. I'm excited for you. That's awesome.
Well, yeah. And so, Marina, where can people find you, and where can people get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So you can follow the RM Romeo Michael podcast FL Florida Lima in any major podcast platforms, wherever you get your podcast juice from. Or if you just want to look up www.connectwithromina.com, and that's ROMINA. So connectwithromina.com. That will take you automatically to the website, which will get you all the shortcuts for everything. And I mean, we are everywhere, all social media platforms, all podcasting platforms. Email me if you have questions, if you need coaching, or if you need somebody just to hear you out or just have a conversation. If you're going through something, reach out, because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate every supporter that I have, and this will be interesting, and see the power of communications. See if what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, and let's make this world a better and happier place for you guys. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode. That's Win. Thanks to you guys.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles, and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.